Today we are going to be making some homemade black bean burgers. I've got 3 cans of black beans, 2 cans of Mexican style corn, an onion and a half, some garlic, a poblano, 3 bell peppers. I've got 3 eggs. There's another one around here somewhere. There it be. 3 eggs, some panko and some Italian breadcrumbs, some mini peppers. I've got basil, chili powder, smoked paprika, ground ginger, cumin, ground cumin, oregano, Tony's, onion, and garlic powder. I'm going to start dicing up the veggies, draining and washing the beans and the corn. Where I can get them on this pan, I've got to roast them off to dry them off a little bit and get the vegetables a little tender before I can mix this. Okay, so I've got the garlic, poblano, jalapeno. I used about half a bag of those sweet peppers diced, and I only used 1 whole onion. I am now going to, I've left this space at the end of this because halfway through the roasting process I'll put half of these beans on here to draw them out a little, and I'll show you why once they're done. I'm just going to drizzle these with, just to get a little season on them as they cook. And Tony's already has salt in it, so therefore the salt will help draw them out a little also. I'm going to roast these at 350, 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how long it takes for them to roast. Smash these out a little. Where they're flat. Alright. They're roasted. They're flattened out to be ready to roast. Okay, so the veggies have been roasting for about 20 minutes now. I'm adding my sliced beets to the pan to roast those. And it's only 1 can of beets, because I'm going to split the recipe in half into regular black bean burgers and add beets to the other half. Let's get these back in, and I will show you what I've done with the beans so far. I've drained and washed them and let them drain again. I'm mashing them into sort of a paste, but not all the way. You want to leave some pieces of the bean, that way you have a little bit of texture of bean in it. I'm going to add the corn. I'm going to use this bowl I had the corn in. Crack my eggs and beat them in. Let's get a fork. Now I know before I put the vegetables in there, I said I was going to roast half of the black beans. They wasn't as wet as they normally are, so they were still a little stiff. So I didn't need to roast them. Normally I roast half of the beans to dry them out a little to be able to give the burgers a little bit of texture, but they didn't need to be roasted this time, so I went ahead and put the beets on. Eggs are beat. They're going in. Get all the egg out of there. Let's get our seasonings measured out. We're going to do wrong spoon. 2 teaspoons of cumin. 2 teaspoons of each of the garlic and onion. Might do a teaspoon and a half. Yeah. Teaspoon and a half of garlic and onion each. Let's do a half teaspoon of smoked paprika. Half teaspoon and a pinch. An eighth of a teaspoon of, or quarter teaspoon of chili powder, just for a little flavor. Quarter teaspoon of ginger powder, ground ginger. I know we put a little bit of Tony's on the vegetables to help it dry out, but we are going to go in with another teaspoon and a half in our seasoning mix. Now these two are optional, only if you like them, oregano and basil. On the oregano I'm going to put half a teaspoon, and on the basil I am going to put a quarter of a teaspoon. And a teaspoon of regular black pepper. We need a little bit of salt, even though there is some in there. We're going to do almost a half a teaspoon, but not a whole half teaspoon. It wasn't quite a quarter either. Okay, these smell done. Let's look at them and see. Yeah. Nice and roasted. I'm going to leave my stove on because I'm going to make a couple of patties first to bake off real quick for us to have. Now I'm just going to take my, guess I need to get a fork. I'm gonna take a fork and smash this garlic up. Again, I am not going to use all this garlic. It just needed to be cooked or eaten. So probably make some garlic mayo out of it. Roasted garlic is good. Okay, I got my baby chopper out. I put it in here. It wasn't smashing very well. I'm going to put a little olive oil in it. It chopped it for me. I'm going to go ahead and scrape it in here. The recipe calls for 3 to 5 cloves. I did a little more because I like garlic. But again, that's all up to if you may want to make it on how much garlic you put in there. Give this a good mix. Pour our seasonings in. Once I mix this up and see the texture and the thickness, it will tell me how much breadcrumbs and or panko I use. Plus, I want to get the seasonings incorporated before I put any breadcrumbs in to make sure I get the seasonings incorporated throughout this mixture. And here's how it looks so far before I add the breadcrumbs. Let's do 2 palmfuls first to see how it looks. Just a little more. Again, on these breadcrumbs and or panko, whichever one you decide to use, add those last and mix them a little bit at a time to get the texture you want. Okay, that should be good. No, it needs a little more. It's still a little too loose. arm a break for just a second. Let's get these beets off this tray where they can be cooling. They're not all the way dry. I just put them in the oven to dry them out a little bit where they wasn't as wet when I put them into the mixture, because we're trying not to put too much. Oops. Alright, got the garlic off. Okay, so this is the texture. Kind of holds together. Now, I've got my hamburger press. I got these from the Dollar Tree. I'm probably sure you can buy them somewhere else, but they was only $1, $1.25. They work well when you're doing stuff like this because they kind of hang off. And you can scoop your mix in there. That way you can, when you press it down, it doesn't stick to the bottom, because this is a wetter mixture. You can make these as thick or as thin as you want. I usually put one on top also. This needs a little bit more. That one side's it. I'm still hungry. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to put it back on this pan. That I baked the vegetables on. Put it back in the oven at 350 for 10 to 15 minutes until they're golden brown. I'm going to keep making the black bean burgers, and before I put the beets back in, I'll be back. Okay, I've got 6 more patties made. Again, on those wrappers, I just leave them on top and bottom where I can freeze them. I've got this much mixture left for the beet ones. I'm going to chop the beets up. Here's the mixture with the beets in it. I'm going to go ahead and make these. Got 8 complete of the regular black bean burgers, so I'll probably get about 4 out of what's left, or 6, depending on how thick I make them. Oh, my beet's trying to escape. Here are the black bean beet burgers. I'm going to put those over into a different stack. I'm going to continue to make these, and I will be back. So I ended up getting 6 black bean beet and 6 regular black bean. So I'm able to freeze 12 burgers, plus I've got 2 in the oven of the regular black bean. So that gave me 14 patties out of the mixture I made, which is a lot. But when you freeze them, and because the process is so long, it's worth it. Okay, they are brown. They're stiff. One of them is going to get pepper jack, and the other one is going to get monster. Oh, not the paper. I'm going to put it back in and let the cheese melt. Okay, the cheese should be nice and melted. Hopefully, yeah, it is. There they go. And we will put them on just the hamburger bun, lettuce, tomato, red onion, avocado, mayo, whatever you want to top it with. If you like my videos, I'm also on TikTok, Facebook, Lemon8, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you.